Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Apex Racing League, and welcome back to Apex Racing TV once again for the ARL Prototypes Championship. It is round number 3, and we are here over in the States. We flew over from Italy during the week, and we are now arriving back in the States to Road America, a driver's favorite in these wonderful cars. LMP1 and LMP2, of course, we run in this championship. Bit of a chaotic one last week, let's say. A massive stack up in Lesmo 2, which caused basically half of the LMP2 field to have to tow back to pit lane or limp back to the pit lane with damage. So hopefully we get a bit of a cleaner one today. Dane Bear not alongside me today. My name's Jack Canan. Joshua Lee filling in for him today. I think it's only fair, actually, Josh, that we brought you in because we have Road America and we've managed to drag you in as an American commentator to drag across the US part of this championship.
Yeah, happy to represent the Americans here in the broadcast team for the ARL Prototype Series. But this track is actually a really cool track. It's one of the most unique ones, I'd say, in the United States, where it's really long. It's about 4 miles. The NASCAR Xfinity Series is famous for going here. The NASCAR Cup Series will go here this weekend. It's a staple on the IndyCar and IMSA calendars, too. So this is such a unique track. A lot of tight bends, a lot of long straightaways. It's going to provide a great opportunity for these prototype cars to really open up their top speed, because we know these cars can get down a straightaway incredibly quickly. They can also get stopped for hard corners too. So this is going to be a lot of passing opportunities, a lot of high speed passes going into these corners, and it's just overall going to be an exciting race.
Yeah, it certainly is. We're on board now with last week's winner in Monza, Lewis Woods, who drove away from everybody after everybody else basically crashed, and he's now just about to come through the final corner in his LMP1, which is he's running the Audi, of course. There's a mix of Audi and Porsches across the field, but the Audi, of course, Lewis's choice as he comes across the start finish. We're in qualifying, of course, 10 minutes, 4 laps available to the drivers. And if you are unfamiliar with this championship, we've got 2 classes per car. So we've got the LMP1s, which have a Pro and an AM category, and we also have the LMP2s, as we have on board now with the championship leader in the Pro category of LMP2, Michele Costantini. He's won both races that we've had in this championship as well, so he's on flying form here, even after he managed to have a massive moment in the sky with the front wheels lifting off the ground as he hit that curb on the inside. But he's now back here in Road America. He's the leader of the Pro category, and we also have the AM category in the LMP2s as well. We should point out as well, big name who is serving a race ban at the moment was the championship leader in LMP2 AM, of course, Liam Rance. He is serving a race ban due to the fact that they didn't take his pit lane starts. So we also have Ivo Laubscher, I believe, who's also serving a race ban for that as well. We have 2 drivers as well who are going to be starting from the pit lane today. We have Graville and James Holman. They will be starting from the pit lane today as a result of infringement. So just those 2. Nobody else, I think, is in that much trouble just yet. We will wait and see. But it is going to be an intriguing day of racing today. I think there's a little bit more room around here, Josh, than there would be at Monza. Monza's long straight, but I think there's just possibly a little bit more room, especially for the LMP1s, to negotiate those LMP2s a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely, and there's a lot more sweeping corners here as well. Monza's kind of, long straightaways into hard chicanes that are just, you need to be so on the brakes, and you can only go so fast. So these are more sweeping corners. The tightest corner we're gonna find is probably turn 6, and that's only in a slight 90 degrees. Every other corner is a little bit more sweeping, providing a little bit more passing opportunities, and it's also gonna provide these guys to get on the throttle a little bit more. And these LMP1 and 2 cars thrive on getting that power down. And as we go on board right now with Matteo Constantini, you can just take a look at how he goes into this corner, and he gets that power down so early, and those tires are able to grip on. And you can see right there using all that runoff room, trying to get the best time he can down in qualifying.
Yeah, it certainly is. Actually, I believe I just had an error there myself. It was actually Alex Salmon who won last week, not Lewis Woods. I just remember him being in the lead, but of course he suffered that damage in the final few minutes, got past. So Alex Salmon was the winner from last week. Currently now, Mateusz Drozda, the fastest man in LMP1s, and he's actually in the AM category. He's now ahead of Leonard Raart, who is of course, the pro driver in the pro category at the moment. Mateusz Drozda fastest overall at the moment. Then is Alex Salmon and Valentin and Lewis Woods. And then we have a few more, but Michele Costantini is currently the fastest man in the pro category of the LMP2s, which is the biggest field of cars that we have. We don't actually have that many LMP1s. We've got loads of LMP2s, a very popular car in this championship, as we see Daniel Civizabo, it moves into second in the AM class in LMP1, but that moves him into just in the middle of the pack right there as we go now. Leonard Rart, he's had a terrible run of luck over the past few weeks, and he now will cross the line to go to the top of the standings on a 138.664. He has been on pole position many times, but has never been able to convert it into a win, whether that be damage or I think on in the first race actually he had a disconnection, which meant he couldn't take the start. Michele Costantini goes even faster in his LMP2 there, as a Lucky Brown moves into second in the AM class and a third overall. So the AM guy is doing an excellent job right there. Of course, you are able to discern which category it is by the colors that are on the timing tower. Red for Pro in the LMP1s, orange as we now have Marco Barbonero, of course, with the colors on the top. P1 AM is in orange, P2 Pro in blue, and P2 AM in green, just so you can keep up with everything that's going on there. But Leonard Rart at the top, Mateusz Drozda is second, Alex Salmon, last week's winner, is third overall, but second in class. Lucky Brown there, second in class. And then we have, this is our, currently was the fastest man for a little while there, Corey Edwards, but it is Moore, Perry, Kittleman, Bell, and Edwards. Top 5 in AM, but currently at the moment we have just a few more to come across the line and a few more to do some, an extra lap. There's 4 laps available to the drivers rather than the usual 3. As we see now, this is Matteo Calistani, he's 9th. It always seems now, you see the spread of the field in LMP1 at the moment, but because of how many cars we have in this one, the LMP2 category is very hotly contested. Michele Costantini just a 10th from Tom Mack, who's second in class at the moment. And here is Mark Hutchinson over the top of the hill as he comes down over the start finish. Look at the speed they're carrying down here. 41.0 goes into 4th in class. Just right in the middle there, but some serious speed being carried by these cars down the front straight. But a pretty dominant qualifying at the moment from Leonard Rart, Josh, about a second in front of the nearest car.
Definitely putting that speed down. And those LMP1s, they're obviously going to have a speed difference. But remember, those LMP2s, both Pro and AM, have a lot more cars in them. So we're going to see a lot more battles throughout that field. And it looks like that field's a little bit closer together on the time sheets than the LMP1s are right now. You can see that spread of the LMP1s, a 138.664. The fastest, slowest is almost 4.5 seconds back in both of the Pro and AM class. But you can look at the LMP2 field, and the 148.875 is the fastest time currently, and you have to go all the way down to about 12th or 13th in class to really find a 1 second difference between those cars. There's a 1 second difference between first and second in both the LMP1 classes right now, so that LMP2 field's a lot closer together. We're going to see a lot of great battles in that field throughout today, and I think we might see an upset in LMP1s as well. We'll just have to wait for the green flag.
Certainly have. So we see now through that long right hand, Lucky Brown carrying a lot of speed down. This is a really fun section. You have a car with downforce back on board with him now as he heads down into the braking zone with this fast right hander. He's on the limiter as he comes down into the braking zone. This is a very tricky corner. Tries to head out of apex, possibly get a tiny bit wide, but gets away with it. Going right out onto that curb on the left hand side, then up and over the hill right here, chucking it to the left, running out to the right hand side and into the last corner, which is deceivingly tight here at Road America, and flings in loads of downforce in that Porsche 919 that he is flinging around here, but he's coming across the line. Now see if he can maybe try and take pole here in his category. He comes across the line and there's a 39.8, only 2/10 off of Mateusz Drozda, but is third overall for Lucky Brown. Michele Costantini about to improve again, I think, here in his LMP2. 48.60 goes 3/10 faster than Tom McMahon, who is the next fastest car. And currently it is, I think, Alex Moore, who is the LMP2 AM pole sitter, and he's right, believe it or not, in the center of the LMP2 Pro field, which is impressive. It's an impressive showing from him. Then you have Bell and Tim Perry, who was third. He was our winner last week in this category as well. So we could be on for some changes in the order into this one. But it seems like we're going to have Leonard Rart at the head of the field for the 3rd time this season. But I'm actually quite impressed with the AM guys, Josh. They're showing that they're just as fast as the Pro guys at the moment. Alex Salmon is second, but they're kind of they're showing that they can mix it with the big boys.
They definitely are, and it's going to be interesting to see how they really take to this track because points are done, of course, by the overall finish, not by class finish. So those AM drivers are going to be up mixing it out with the pro drivers, trying to get as many points as they can. And it's going to be interesting to see just how that works out in the race. But it's time for the starting grid, Jack.
Absolutely, it is, and we've been given a full pace lap, so we can take our time with this one as well, which is always nice as well. So it's going to be an interesting one. Of course, this is an hour-long race, so it's straight to the finish. Here's the qualifying results, by the way. Leonard Rart at the head of the pro field by just a second over Alex Salmon and Mateusz Drozda. That was a gap of 3 thousandths between Alex Salmon and Mateusz Drozda, who was on pole in the AM category. Loki Brown in 4th, then Ishmael Yakubu, Lewis Woods and Hugo Valentin. Of course, the LMP1 Pro category is dominated by RLR Abruzzi Esports. You can see them all there in 5th, 6th, and 7th. Also on pole position, Daniel Civizawa in 8th, Mark Hutchinson, Flavio Figuccio, and Matt James. Then at the head of the LMP2 Pro field is Michele Costantini, his 3rd pole in a row in LMP2 for Apex Racing Team, and Tom McMahon is next to him. Then it is Maciek Mlinek, Jakub Widerka, and Matteo Graziano with Mark Sweethoff and Arkadiusz Neumann in 18th overall. And we go further down, Luke Pennington, Cam Stark, Marcel van Den, Daniel Bucher, and Krzysztof Skorupski, and Matteo Calistani. And then your pole sitter for the LMP2 AM, right in the middle of the pro category, is Alex Moore for Fuga Sim Sport in the number 366 car. Then it's Matty Chambers, Brian Cavito, and Ryan Littlemore, who is going to be there. And then we're going to be just below. Jackson Bell is 2nd in LMP2 AM with Tim Perry, last week's winner, in 30th overall. Julian Bell, Kevin Kittleman, and Corey Edwards, Craig Jones, and Michael Steele, Joost Baumeister, Charles Collignol, and David Ward in 38th. And then we will have Shane Dunn, Jason Marical, Marcel Leclerc, Jonathan Keed, Bruno Aguirre, Ryan Epperingham, Lee Balmer, David Nichols, Sasha Lowe, and Nathan Healy. And then Carter Hutchinson, James Holman, and down at the bottom, I didn't see him join, but Daladone is certainly there, at least on the qualifying result. But James Holman, of course, he will be starting from the pit lane, so he did not set a time. So he's going to be starting right in the middle of the pit lane, and he has to let every single class by. So he's going to have a lot of work to do, James Holman. But full pace lap ahead now of the drivers. We have the Porsche of Leonard Rart on the pole, and next to him is the Audi of Alex Salmon. As you can see, there is James Holman peeling into the pit lane, so he will be starting from there. So now, this is going to be an interesting one for sure, because we have an hour race ahead of us, and which also means that we're going to have a pit stop as well. So there's going to be some strategy in this one as well. The LMP2s can go a little bit longer than the LMP1s because they just use a little bit less fuel each time. But you can see now Michele Costantini with Tom McMahon in the pro category, and we're going to see if anybody can topple Michele today, because he's been completely dominant over the past 2 weeks of racing. And we look forward to seeing how that battle is going to unfold. The gap is not that much between himself and Tom in qualifying, just about 3/4 tenths of a second. But I'm interested to see where Alex Moore is going to end up. He is the pole sitter for the AM category, and Josh, he's right in the middle of these guys in the pro field.
He is, and it's going to be very interesting to see just how the AM drivers interact with the pro drivers, because these pro drivers like to think that, you know, they're faster than the AM class. That's why they're in the pro class and they're in the AM class. That's not necessarily always the truth. There's some AM class drivers that can rival with the pro class drivers, and there's some pro class drivers that are going to be down with the AM drivers. And it all depends on how this race works out. You know, like you mentioned, we have a pit stop. I'm expecting a lot of drivers to kind of try and cut this race in half, pit at the halfway mark, and be good to the end. But it's just going to be a wild race in general, just to see how the strategy is going to work out, how the battles are going to work out, who's going to be battling with who, and who can come out on top at the end. Because I wouldn't be surprised if we see some AM class drivers spoiling some pro class driver parties today.
We've seen it before, certainly. We have Mateusz Drozda and Lucky Brown in the middle of the pro category there as well. So there's plenty to watch out for in this one. And remember, it's going to be a key part of this endurance racing is how the LMP1s deal with the P2 traffic. And it's always fun to watch how that unfolds. As we, this is now the AM field, of course. Well, they're all really more mixed up than they would normally be this week with the AMs and the pros. So they're all kind of mixed in with each other. So we'll see how they get on as we peel through the grid here. This is Matt Jimmy. Yeah, I think we just had something there. Ishmael Yakubu, who was in that 3rd or 4th place in class, has now, I believe, disconnected with a connection issue. So that's a shame for Ishmael Yakubu. He was also involved in a big accident last week, so he's not having the luck go his way, but he seems to be pinging around there. You can literally see, you can see him in the middle pack right there. He is still there, but his connection is a little bit ropey, so the drivers will be very aware of this. So we're going to be they're going to be probably taking it a little bit easy around him here. Well, let's hope we don't have a repeat of last week with the massive pile-up in Lesmo 2. So let's see how this gets on. But we're looking to see if Leonard Raart's going to get some luck on his side here. He's had pole position 3 times and has been unable to convert it on all those on 2 of those occasions. Of course, this being his 3rd occasion on pole position. But Alex Salmon is the winner from last week. So Leonard Raart going to control the pace. Pace car will peel off to the right-hand side. They have a restart zone. They're not allowed to go before that restart zone. So let's see how they control this one now. Pace car in, and we're about to get underway for round 3 of the ARL Prototypes Championship. Leonard Raart at the head of the field. When does he decide to go? The green flag is going to wave just a moment's time. Restart zone just before the start finish, and away we go from the line for the ARL Prototypes Championship. Green flag is being waved, and away we go once again for this fantastic championship. And onto the grass immediately. Lewis Woods having to take to the grass as Leonard Raart immediately trying to cover off Alex Salmon as they head towards turn 1, but it is Raart in front in this hour-long endurance race. Salmon in 2nd, Drozda 3rd. They've all basically maintained their position, but Lewis Woods having to take to the grass immediately. Little look in the background there between Brown and Yakubu. But here go the LMP2 pros here. Michele Costantini at the head of this field, and they will launch towards turn 1 now. Michele Costantini away in the LMP2 pro category, and the AMs are also in the middle of this one, so they will go at the same time, and this is going to be an interesting one. Can anyone topple that Italian in the lead of this race at the moment as he comes through turn number 1? And it is Costantini clear and clean in front. There's a big slide in front of the field right there. That was a massive save, I think, from Matteo Calistani, was it? No, Graziano. Matteo Graziano with a massive slide, and a big one again on the exit. And I don't know how he got away with that one, but that was a mega save as Tom McMahon takes the lead of the pro category in LMP2 immediately. He knows he has to battle Calistani. You can see him going side by side down the hill there. He's got the outside line. Costantini with the inside line shoves him out wide there as they come up the hill for the first time. But this is now going to be watching out for Blinek, who's having a look up the inside again, and a little bit of contact between Verdurk and himself there in the back. But already they're fighting hard here. Tom McMahon knows he cannot let Michele Costantini get away early.
And you're on board right now with McMahon as he tries to get back to the back bumper of Costantini. He's leading the way, and you can see these LMP2 cars already struggling for grip, trying to get those tires warmed up. And as they make their way through the carousel, turn 10, down into the kink of turn 11. And now McMahon's going to have a huge battle behind him as he has more cars coming in his mirror. But we hop back up to the LMP1, battle for the lead, and it looks like Leonard Raart has really pulled away from the field already, an almost 2-second gap over Salmon as they work their way onto lap 2.
Yeah, good stuff from Leonard Raart. He's already pulled out that 2.2 second lead. Oh, we got a car off in the braking zone for the right-hander. That was a car that went straight on into the barriers there. And I think it was Zuidhoff there. Yeah, Zuidhoff, who went straight on in the right-hander. And I think, has he managed to escape damage? I'm not too sure if he has or not, but a big moment there into the braking zone for the right-hander. But Leonard Raart, yeah, he knows he needs to check out immediately. Because we know how quick Alex Salmon is in that 2nd spot, but Leonard Raart has been showing his muscle. He was a 2nd faster than everybody in qualifying. He's got the pace. He hasn't been able to convert anything into a win in this championship. Is this the day that he manages to do it? We'll wait and see. But it is Raart at the head of the field. It's Costantini at the head of the LMP2 Pro field. It's still Alex Moore at the head of the P2 AM category, and Drozda at the head of the P1 AM. So no lead changes at all across the field. They've all maintained their positions and done it very well. As you see, Alex Moore, he's getting himself in the middle of the fight here in the pro category. He's having to fend off Ryan Littlemore, who's going to try and sweep round him on the right-hand side, and does a great job and shuts him off immediately up the top of the hill. Lovely move from Littlemore, who moves himself into the top 10 in his category. But now you can see Alex Moore was a couple of positions ahead, but now Jackson Bell, the American, he is closing in on his tail. There he is in P2, and just a second back from him is last week's winner, Tim Perry. So P2 Am looking spicy at the moment as we've got a car off as they come into the carousel. That was Cam Stark, who just went off a little bit too hard there. And there you can see Alex Moore turning around the outside of the carousel, and he does just about gets in front right there. So this is really the story of this championship, is that the AM categories have always been that little bit more intense. They're fighting for every little position, but Alex Moore doing well to hang on to the position there. Jackson Bell, though, looking pretty pacey there behind him.
Now Cam Stark is going to be in between these two. That was a great move by Alex Moore to get by Stark when he needed to, because now Bell has to work his way around Stark before he even has a chance to catch up to your current P2 AM class leader, Alex Moore. And as they're going to come back onto the front straight away, you can see Bell still hasn't gotten around him. He needs to if he wants to have a battle for the lead. As we take a look at a battle further back, this is Bouchard and Colignan as they go side by side coming onto the front straight away. The inside advantage now for the 220. Is he going to be able to pull him on the straightaway up the hill? Back across the start-finish line, they're going to dive into turn number 1, and it's a right-hander, so he's going to have the inside as they work their way into turn number 1. But can the 312 do anything on the outside? No, he's not. He's going to give that spot away to Boucher. That's going to move him up to P15 in the AM class, the P2 Pro class, and it'll move the Boucher down into 16th overall in the P2 Pro class. So we hop back up to the P1 class. This is your P1 AM leader in Drozda as he tries to catch up to the second overall car and the second P1 Pro car of Alex Salmon, last week's winner.
Yeah, looking really good here, Montez Drozda, as he comes across the start finish to begin his next lap. You can see 180 miles an hour over the start finish. As we look back at a replay, Josh, what happened to Craig Jones? I heard him being angry over the voice chats, and he seems to me that he's very, very, very unhappy with what has just happened there.
He ended up reversed into the tire barrier and in the gravel too, so definitely not what Craig Jones was looking for. And he lost a good bit of spots there as well, as he currently sits in 12th overall in the P2 AM class.
Yeah, that's a shame for Craig. Just got a tiny little touch in the rear and he went round at the bottom of the hill. So he's back going again, though. There he is, and he's in 12th in class right now. Look at this in the middle of the pack. This is why we love LMP2s, is it all gets stacked up in the middle here. We're looking right now at Mr. Daladone in 14th place. Remember, he was on the podium last week in Monza, and he got promoted up to the pro class. He's 14th in class right now, and he is now just trying to fight his way back up through the field right now. So he's in 14th. He's just behind Joust Baumeister in 7th in the AM category. So he's just trying to see if he can gain any more positions, but he's getting under pressure now from Daniel Bucher, who's right behind him in that 15th place, just behind him. So we'll see now if Alessandro is going to be able to maybe get himself a top 10 today, which would be a good result for him. He's not going to quite replicate that podium, but either way, he's still on a good drive right here. So it's nice to see. But Daniel Bucher now, good slipstream on him here. Come down, Lucky Brown. Now, as we battle here, this is the battle now for this will be second in class as he comes across the line. Lucky Brown trying to get in front of Daniel Civizabo, and he does get in front right there, and they're now fighting for. So there you can see Lucky Brown in between. That was Hutchinson getting past him. So Lucky Brown we're looking at right now. Just behind him is Daniel Civizabo. So this is the battle for second in class right now. Mateus Drozda is gone completely up the road. So Lucky Brown is battling now for overall position with Matt Hutchinson here just in front of him. He doesn't really need to go for it, but he wants to make sure that he gets himself a car in front of Daniel Civizabo now as they file through the bottom of the circuit. But these guys very close together. Figuccio's kind of with them as well in P4. You can kind of see the Audi in the background. So Flavio Figuccio is nicely in there too. So we have a decent battle going on for second in class in this race right there. So you can see there's Brown, just behind him is Civizabo, and just behind him is Figuccio in the Audi. There he is. And just in front of these guys, of course, is Hutchinson, who is 4th in the pro category. So all going well at the moment for Lucky Brown, who's 2nd in class. Oh, we got a big off there. That is, that's a couple off right there. That's Jason Marical and somebody else. I didn't quite see. I think that is Julian Bell, who got caught up behind him. I think he was trying to get past, and they just made contact with each other on the way into the corner. Let's have a look at that again. It was kind of unusual. They just kind of, I wonder if somebody missed their braking point or somebody went into the back of somebody, but it was a bit of a stack up heading into the last corner right there. And yeah, just a tap in the rear, and there, he was on the grass already by the looks of it. As they came in, and Julian Bell, I think, was just a bit unsighted, and just went into the back of him and touched the grass and went around. They went. It's so brutal when you get on the grass and you try to brake, because there's absolutely no way that you're stopping that car.
Once you get on grass, those brakes want to do nothing but lock up, and because it has no friction with the asphalt to get it to slow down, they just lock up, and that's the end of the story for both of those cars today. They're going to come into pit road, hopefully get that damage fixed, but definitely not going to be in the running for either of their class wins today, as we look on board with Mark Zudoff, looking back on the 261 of Alessandro Galladone, and we're going to look at a replay.
Matty Chambers here, who's been, I can see that he's looking at the iRacing in-game stuff. He's manually disconnected, so he's had a terrible day as well, Matty Chambers, which is a shame for him. So he's out of this race as we go now to Lucky Brown, as now we're getting into the fun stuff. They're beginning to now catch up to the LMP2 field, and this is where time is won and lost in endurance racing. Here's the mini-map, which you can also use in the SDK Gaming. Live overlay, you can see where the LMP2 pros are. They're just coming down the front straight, and you can see our leader, Leonard Bart, is now catching up to a big gaggle of cars in the LMP2 category. Here he is, and you can see, look at all those LMP2s he's got to make his way through. He's got to hope that he's catching them all in the right place here, though. He's catching them on the front straight. He should be able to dispatch these four right here, but it's going to get progressively more difficult to get past these guys. If you catch them in the wrong place, it can lose you seconds in the course of a race right here. So Leonard Rock going to have to sit behind one of these, but he's going to have to be, I think we've learned that you've got to be quite assertive to get past these guys. The LMP2s will hold their line. It's the LMP1's responsibility to try and make their way cleanly past. But even in that small little gaggle right there, you can see Leonard Rock cost himself about 4 cents as Brown gets on the grass. And now we have a really spicy fight going on right here. We have Loki Brown, Daniel Civizawa, and Flavio Figuccio all together on the circuit, fighting for second in class. And Figuccio looks like the man who's going to be making a move, actually, to be fair. Brown's got a nice gap. Figuccio's tucked in behind Civizawa, looking at the outside line now on the bottom of the hill, and he's not quite able to do that just yet. But already we're having the fight 10 minutes in. I've had a car go off, and just right there, that's Drozda, Mateusz Drozda, who's in the lead of the category. He's managed, I think, to avoid major stuff right there. I think he just got onto the grass a little bit on the exit, but now he's caught up to the traffic as well. But he's done a nice job to get himself a gap of about 4.7 seconds over Loki Brown, and the more that those guys fight, the more that he can pull away.
And these battles are really starting to heat up as we're 11.5 minutes down in this race. One car's off track. That's the 388 of Craig Jones. He's going to go off track. It looks like he's going to tow it back to pit road. I'm not sure if he had any damage or... Oh my! There's damage! A huge wreck coming through Canada corner. That is Charles Collington around for Vortex Esports. That might have been a self-spin. He sent it into that corner and right into the grass he went. Was it contact from a car behind?
Yeah, well, we cut to the shot as he came in, and that car was not facing the right way. I've got to, yeah, right into the back right there for Charles Collignon. Did very well. He just kept his foot planted, got it back pointed into the line. That was James Holman, who started from pit lane. As we look here right now, but yeah, it seems now we're getting about 15 minutes into this race, and it seems now that things are starting to become a little bit more chaotic in this race. And you can see, yeah, James Holman just getting into the rear of him a little bit there on the entry. And right now, he started from pit lane in this one, so he's getting himself up the field a little bit now as we round this next corner. That's Ryan Littlemore off in the gravel. That's on the exit of the right-hander dropping down the hill. We're getting replays left, right, and center now. A guy's going off. Ryan Littlemore, a victim as well, it seems, coming through that right-hander. And there he is. Gets punted in the rear, and round he goes into the gravel. And wow, this has become chaotic all of a sudden. And Ryan Littlemore, he was involved in a huge wreck in Silverstone, and now he's been involved in a second one here in Road America. But here's our LMP2 Pro leader, Michele Costantini, opening the gap by about average of 3 to 5 tenths a lap over Tom McMahon. And Matthias Drozda, he's just had it off, I think, because Matt Hutchinson's just caught up to him. I just saw him rejoin the circuit there, and I think he's actually had an off there, Josh.
And Lockie Brown is also catching up now. That gap down to 4 seconds after this off track from Drozda. And if Hutchinson can get by, that's going to push Drozda even further back. So these battles now are starting to heat up, especially because we're seeing some mistakes from drivers. We're seeing some more contact. And now here comes the 112 of Drozda. And Hutchinson went right around, but now he has a mirror full of the 220.
Yeah, there was a swap of position there. Sivi Zabo into second in class right there, getting past Lucky Brown, who made a small mistake into turn 1, and now he's under pressure from the Audi of Flavio Figuccio, who's right behind him for trying to make himself on the podium slots here. He's trying to make it around an LMP2 at the same time. Does Figuccio have room to try and go for a move? No, he doesn't, and he managed to hang on, but Daniel Sivi Zabo moves in to that second place. Here's your iRating for each of these guys. You can see Leonard Rart at the top of the field, 5,200 iRating. iRating are basically a reflection of your results and your racecraft in iRacing, so very, very high overall. And most of these guys with an A-class road license, but a very high strength of field here overall. But you can see Rart with 5.2, Alex Salmon 4.6, Lewis Woods 4.2. So there is a big, large one. And Michele Costantini, 7.4K at the head of the LMP2 Pro field. He is also one of the coaches for the Apex Racing Academy. So he's definitely one to learn from. If you would like to check that out, you can check all the links in the description if you want to get yourself a subscription to Apex Racing. But here you can see at the top, that is the average iRating for each of the classes right here. So Pro, an average of 4.2K, AM with 2.2, 4K for P2 Pro, and 1.7K for P2 AM. So P2 AM would be kind of the more competitive open category for everybody. As we see now, Lucky Brown trying to get past here, but no, Sivi Zalbo's trying to get back. He's actually moving in front of it now, and that's P2 back again for Lucky Brown. Sivi Zalbo has to take to the grass. He runs wide in turn 1, manages to keep it going, but Figuccio now senses an opportunity in that Audi, but toing and froing here in this category. Gets on the boost now. Figuccio trying to get himself into that slipstream and down towards the bottom of the hill. He's got a nice run on him now as they head down the hill, but I think Sivi Zalbo should be able to hang on to this one. Figuccio actually backs off as he comes into the braking zone, but this is an excellent battle. As there goes Lucky Brown. He gets caught up behind some LMP2 traffic, and does he manage to get past them? Yes, he does, but I think Sivi Zalbo might get caught up here. That LMP2 runs onto the grass to get out of the way, but this is we're 15 minutes in, and these guys are absolutely nose to tail for second in class, and this is exactly what Matthias Drozda wants to see, because this will allow him to just open the gap even further as Figuccio gets even closer to the left-hander.
And Brown currently leads this battle. Sivi Zalbo in second, Figuccio in third. As they work their way through the carousel, and they're reaching more lap traffic. That's more LMP2 traffic up ahead of them. The 124 gets by well, a little bit of tap of the grass. Not going to get him around, though, as these three continue to battle for second in the LMP1 AM class right now, working their way into Canada corner. More lap traffic up ahead. They need to navigate their way around this lap traffic at the same time as trying to race their competitors in their class. This is so difficult, and the catch-22 of endurance racing. You're trying to battle with the car in front of you, but the next car is going to be a car that you don't even need to battle, and you have to try and get around him so you can get more positions in your class, and they're trying their best to do that. But as you can see, here comes Figuccio to the inside of Sivi Zalbo. He takes the spot on the straightaway. More lap traffic now ahead of the 116. He has to navigate around. There goes Figuccio in the third. Contact is made by Sivi Zalbo. He's going to make his way still in fourth now in the class, but that could have been that disaster with Figuccio.
Oh, he was very lucky there. That was inches from death there. Faguccio using the boost out of the last corner to get himself past Sivizabo. So saved that up and used a bit more than he probably would normally to get past. But he is into third now. And we're now on board with Sivizabo with a big dive. He's going to make contact and Faguccio goes around. He misses his braking point entirely. And Sivizabo takes out the Italian at the bottom of the hill. Completely misjudges it. And Faguccio, who just got past him, drops back behind him again. They don't lose any spots, but they've now dropped away from Loki Brown, and so unfortunate for Flavio Faguccio. Just have a look at this again as they come down the hill. You can see, look where Sivizabo is. He's the car on the left-hand side there. He tries to get past the LMP2, and he just completely misses his braking point there and goes into the back of Flavio Faguccio, who was completely innocent there. And what a shame for him. He's got damage on the side right now. And that brings an end to the brilliant battle that we were watching right there for second and third. But Daniel Sivizabo, I think probably was trying to keep an eye on the LMP2 to his right-hand side, and completely missed his braking point there.
And it also kind of looked like he really wanted to get by that spot, and he wanted to get to that inside, and couldn't get on the brakes hard enough, made contact, and they both ended up off track and into the grass. They only traded positions, they didn't lose any extra. So Sivizabo still third in the class, in the P1 AM class. Faguccio still fourth in the P1 AM class, and they're still close together. They're going to be battling, and they're now in pit lane. This is a good opportunity now for the 5th place in class right now. That's Matt James, to try and make something up, because you can see that gap. He's way far down the order. He might have a chance to overtake these two, but it just depends on how this pit road goes for Sivizabo and Faguccio, as they're both in, and they're also going to come out next to each other as well. That's Michael Seal off track in the 361.
Yeah, just running wide in the last quarter. So there goes, yeah, Matt James moves into third place. There he is. And Sivizabo and Faguccio probably going to take some fuel here as well in this pit stop. They've got a chance here. No, they're just going to repair the damage and come out. They have got a fast repair to use. As we see Cam Stark, that's the second time we've seen him off, and running off into the gravel there. He's got back going again for Cam. Yeah, so it was all so clean at the start of this race, and then all of a sudden, I think almost as soon as the LMP1s catch up to these guys, there's been that. Now, I did notice there was a switch for the lead. LMP2 AM, Tim Perry now leads this race. Alex Moore was your pole sitter in this one, so we have a new leader, change for the lead. In this one, Alex Moore actually got, that was the reason. So Alex Moore making an error and had to take to the escape road at the bottom of the hill, and he had to get back going again. So Alex Moore now dropping back into I think he's dropped down to third in class, so he was leading, but now Tim Perry is your new leader this race, and Kevin Kittleman moves to second as a result of what we saw there. So Alex Moore dropping to third, and Jackson Bell in fourth. So we have now Matt Hutchinson is into the pit lane as well for the LMP1s. So he pits from fourth in class in this one. But Leonard Roth still firmly in the lead. He's comfortable at the moment. And I'm not sure, I think I missed this, but I seem to have noticed that we're missing Tom McMahon. He was second in class. And you can see here, that's Maciek Linek in second place, and Tom McMahon has, I think, made an error somewhere.
Oh, there it is.
And he's wow, Tom McMahon. He was running its place, and oh dear, Tom McMahon. He was running so well in that second spot, and he's now unfortunately dropped many spots as a result of that. As we now see, yeah, just that's so unlucky for Tom McMahon. It was just a small touch of the curb way up into the last corner, and it sent the rear into the air, and unfortunately collected his teammate at the same time, Matt James, which was a real shame for him. Mark Hutchinson, excuse me, not Matt James, Mark Hutchinson. That's why Hutchinson had to pit. So that moves Matt James into third. So really unfortunate, really look at the draw there at the time for him. But now brings us back to the battle for second. Alex Salmon versus Lewis Woods here, down towards the bottom of the hill. Lewis Woods looking for an opportunity to get past Alex Salmon, move to the outside line. Of course, Alex Salmon took the win away from him last week, and he tried and get one over. He goes to the outside line, coming up to the top of the hill. Can't quite get alongside him there, but the two Audis going at it right here for second in class. They've got plenty of time. Up to Leonard Rart, 3.7 seconds is the gap, but they're also at the same time trying to negotiate some traffic. But now, they've also got a little bit of clean air compared to what they had before. But Lewis Woods will be desperate to try and get past Alex Salmon here, the man who took away the win from him in the last 8 minutes of the race last week. And it'd be crucial to see if he can get past before we get to those pit stop phases, which will be coming up not in the not too distant future here. So Lewis Woods looking very racy at the moment. He's got in the slipstream of that Audi in front. They've got similar levels. They've got the same boost available to them as well. So there's no advantage versus Porsche. But they battle the more. Leonard Rart is opening the gap around here, but Lewis Woods, he's surely going to get a run out of the last corner here. Into the right-hander they come. Going to try and get on the power as early as he can. Decent run out. He's going to use a little bit of boost as he comes out of there, and now in the slipstream, here he comes. Does he have enough to get past? I don't think he has, because he comes towards turn one. He's going to have to sit behind, I reckon. He's going to get closer and closer and closer, though. He's maybe going to have to think about it. No, he's going to sit behind and probably line him up for the bottom of the hill as we head through the right-hander, as I see now that Falvin Faguccio has totally dropped off the timing screens for us as well. So that seems that Faguccio is now out of this race. But now here we go. Here comes Lewis Woods, and Alex Salmon got the good run. Coming down the hill, Salmon holds the inside line. Does he have enough to go around the outside? Lewis Woods, he gives himself room, going to look for a cutback line up the hill, gets on the power, but he has to check up as Alex Salmon defends it nicely. Was wise to that move that he was going to pull, but this is a great battle between the two leaders that were fighting for the win last week.
This battle is insane as these two go racing through the middle sector here at Road America. Two Audis going side by side. That's Salmon and Woods right now. They're battling for the second spot in the LMP1 Pro class. Your current leader, Leonard Rart, is way up the field, so that's the main battle going on right now in the P1 Pro class. At second place in the AM class for the P1s, that's Lockie Brown off track. Drozda keeps the lead. And Lockie Brown not going to lose so much time to that LMP1 AM class leader as Mark Hutchinson pulls it down pit road.
Yeah, Mark Hutchinson having to pit again. The front is missing off that car, so he's going to have to pit again. But we go back to this brilliant fight between Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods. Round the last corner he comes now, and Salmon getting a little bit better drive than Woods that time off the corner. But of course, the benefit of the slipstream for Lewis Woods this time. But you can see Leonard Rart is opening the gap each time they come across the line. It's now 4.9 seconds, as now Lewis Woods going to have a think about it. They're going to have to negotiate some traffic first, though, and no way through for him yet. Going to look for a line on the downhill now. Does he have a think about it here, or does he sit behind and go for the run down the hill? Alex Salmon still in front as we now a tick towards the halfway mark of this race. Half an hour gone, and we're ticking towards the pit stop phases for the LMP1s. But does Lewis Woods have enough in the tank now to go for it this time? Alex Salmon's going to do the same thing he did before, hang the inside line, and nothing Lewis Woods can do about that. Now I'm going to look for that cutback line he tried earlier, but again, Lewis Woods parks it beautifully in the middle of the circuit, and Woods can do absolutely nothing about it. He must be getting really frustrated now.
They work their way now through the middle part of this racetrack again. The carousel is going to be a great passing opportunity. They can use a bit of the boost. They can try and get grip coming through that corner, slingshot themselves down the straightaway, and that slipstream is also going to help as Woods is right on the back bumper of Salmon, just trying to get close enough to be able to do it as they make their way now through the kink. Canada corner is going to be a huge braking opportunity and a passing opportunity for Woods if he wants to try and get past him. OCM Racing versus Abruzzi Esports Black into Canada corner, turn 12. Any move's going to happen? Not yet, as they're going to make their way back to the front straight away. This is going to be another great opportunity. Turn 14, we've talked about it. That boost coming out of the corner, getting a great slingshot down the straightaway. And you can see Woods even catching up in the braking zone. Here's a great opportunity. Can Woods do it? Woods is going to pull into pit road. It's time for his pit stop.
Yeah, he's going to go for an undercut. I think he was trying to work out whether Alex was going to go in. So Lewis into the pit lane now for a fuel stop. This will get him to the end now, and he's just going to fuel to the end. No tires in this championship. They've got plenty to use in the tank. So we go back now to the battle in LMP2 Pro. This is Daniel Bucher versus Cavido, who's right in front of him here in P8. Gets late on the brakes, turns it in. Plenty of steering lock being used right there, but is not able to make his way through just yet. But we've got an interesting fight now. Lewis Woods in pit lane, and Alex Salmon will probably respond to him immediately on this lap. So Lewis Woods out of the pit, he's on his way out of the pit lane now, and will emerge about around the battle, maybe just get behind Michele Costantini, but here comes Daniel Bucher, not quite able to get up alongside him there. But you can see Lewis Woods now, a bit of clean air that he can use, gets past Costantini, and he's now got some clean air to try and push up. But there's a big lap for Alex Salmon as they're hopping that curb. Daniel Bucher, the one that killed Tom McMahon earlier on, with lifting the rear in the air and sending him around. But now we can see some of the LMP2s are also pitting at the same time. So they will be pitting a bit slightly later than the LMP1s. Some of them are deciding to pit a little bit earlier, but it's all up to the drivers really. But this is the battle for second in class as well in the P2 Pro category. That is a Maciek Mlinek with Jakub Widerka on his tail. Up the top of the hill he goes for the move. That's one of the pro guys. Another driver can unlap themselves there, but Mlinek is under pressure now from Widerka as they come down the hill. But Leonard Rart is the man who decides to pit first. Alex Salmon confident that he can push on here to try and get out in front of Lewis Woods. So he's trying to extend his stint a little bit longer. Rart is the man in control of this race at the moment. And there is the broken car of Flavio Figuccio. You can see right there who we lost in this race. But first pit box for Leonard Rart is going to put some fuel in, and he should be comfortably out in front as Mateusz Drozda pits from the P1AM lead as well. Does Loki Brown follow him in? Yes, he does. So you can see Lewis Woods. Where is he going to be? He's coming down the front straight right now. And there he is. And Leonard Rart on the pit exit now, and he does emerge in front. So Leonard, he's not quite able to get the lead. But I'm interested to see where Alex Salmon is going to come out, because he is going to slot between them, but it's going to be very close between the both of them.
I'm actually liking the strategy from Salmon right now, because those cars are going to get lighter as they go through the fuel run. And if he's at the last bit of his fuel run, he's going to have not a lot of fuel in the tank, making this car a lot lighter. He might be able to get that overcut done and keep that lead away from Rart. It's going to be close, but if he runs some consistent laps, doesn't have a lot of traffic ahead of him, we could be seeing a new leader out of this pit cycle from Alex Salmon.
Yeah, we're going to look at this battle for P2 Pro. Here comes Jakub Widerka in the slipstream of Maciek Mlinek here. Down the hill, he's going to back off and not quite go for the move there. Polish compatriots not going to fight each other too hard. But yeah, Alex Salmon could be on to a winner here, and he has continued on again. So he's extending it even further, which means he's going to he's actually put a personal best lap in. And as you mentioned, Josh, the car's getting lighter, getting faster, so he's feeling more comfortable in the car right now, possibly. As we come across the line, there's Matteo Graziano, who's P11 in class, going to make some positions as Daniel Bucher makes his pit stop, and he moves into the top 10 in his class. So now we're halfway through, we're over halfway, we're 31 minutes in. There is your leader in the P2 AM category, Tim Perry, and you can see Kevin Kilman. They're exchanging lap times here. 10s gained on lap 15, 3/10 gained back by Kevin Kittelman in second. So this is the closest battle for the lead we have on track at the moment, and these guys have not yet pitted, so it could come down to who decides to pit first, or if they just decide to go in together. We're left to wait and see, but it's Tim Perry who's trying to go for 2 in a row here in his category. Won it in Monza. See if he can do it in Road America. Alex Salmon trying to go for 2 in a row as well. He won in Monza. Can he do it again today? But Costantini trying to go for 3 in a row here, winning in Silverstone and in Monza, and is on course to do another win here today. But no sign of pit stops yet for the leaders in the both categories, in the Pro and P2. They'll be going a little bit longer than the rest. But let's see, does Alex Salmon decide to pit this time? He's got some traffic now, so is this the moment he decides to come in? Yes, it is. So Alex Salmon into the pit lane, and at the moment, Leonard Rart is just coming through the carousel, so he's not really battling with Leonard Rart. It's the gap between himself and Lewis Woods that we kind of need to watch, and whether he's going to be able to come out in front, because if he makes the overcut work, that'll be an impressive strategy call.
We'll just have to see. Only time will tell. As here comes Leonard Rart going through Canada corner, and here's Alex Salmon going to pull his way into his pit stall, assuming he's going to take fuel only, as nobody else has really taken tires so far this race, as he is now in his pit stall getting some fuel. And here comes Rart onto the front straightaway. It's going to be close, but I don't think it's going to be quick enough. Here they come on to the front straightaway. He is not out of pit road, and there goes Leonard Rart right on by. The 18 will take the lead back, as here comes Salmon out, and he will get the overcut done on Lewis Woods, albeit by a couple feet, as here comes Woods now to battle, but they have a P2 car in between them.
A good job by Alex Salmon. He does make the overcut work, and he gets a car between himself and himself and Lewis Woods. So good job, made the right call there. Michele Costantini, by the way, he is in the lead by nearly 10 seconds over the P2 man, Maciek Weinek, and Jakub Federka are battling for that position. He's pulling out a second a lap, so he's really putting some pressure on here and driving away from everybody at the moment, Michele. As we see now, look at this. This is Krzysztof Skorupski in a battle with Neumann, and as a car runs straight on at turn 1, that is the P11 man who runs straight off into turn 1. That was a P2 AM car, but this battle is Skorupski versus Neumann, and right behind them is the couple of other cars right there. That's one of the LMP1s. Is trying to make their way through, as well as the some LMP2s, but you can see Neumann and Skorupski together. Lucky Brown, he's going to get caught behind them here, but he should be able to just get past them up the hill, at least one of them up the hill, and the second one he should be able to dispatch quite quickly. Oh, he gets sent around with the other contact with the LMP2, little bit of contact, and round goes Skorupski, and it was so unfortunate, a tiny tap as they come through. Skorupski's not happy with Lucky Brown over the voice chat there. And Skorupski now is maybe going to lose the position to Matteo Calistani, who is in 6th place, but contact between the both of them, trying to get past, and possibly a little bit misunderstanding, but it was very slight contact. Here they come up the hill. Skorupski, you're looking at Lucky Brown to the inside, and I think, yeah, just very marginal there between the both of them, but there was contact. We'll have a look at it again as they come up the hills. Lucky Brown to the inside. And as they turn in, oh, it's very unlucky, isn't it? It's just a slight tap, and Lucky Brown went around and Skorupski getting caught up in it. But so is it. It's just the nature of the physics. He was turning at the time and got sent around. But in comes Michele Costantini from the lead of the P2 AM, P2 Pro, sorry, and he takes his pit stop. Jakub Federka opting to carry on, and Lucky Brown back in the pit lane with damage for this one. Michele Costantini, he's putting on a dominant display today, but we have for the moment a new leader in P2 Pro.
And here's the battle right now. You're looking at Matteo Graziano. He has Baumeister up ahead of him right now, and this is a battle just for overall, as Baumeister is P2 currently in the AM class for P2. P2 Pro class is Matteo Graziano. He's currently in 9th there. He works his way around in Canada corner, but his pit cycle is starting to start for the LMP2 class. You can see on the timing tower a handful of them coming into pit road. We'll see how many more pit road takers come onto the front straightaway this time. But now these LMP2 cars are coming down pit road, and that's just going to create more traffic for the P1 cars, and it's going to create a good bit of traffic as well for the P2 cars, and a good bit of a shuffle in their spots as more cars dive down pit road. A few stay out, a handful of them staying out as they work their way down the front straightaway. And this is the battle for the LMP1 class now between Woods and Salmon. They're back close together, very close together, as Rart is not that far up the road. He's only about 4.5 seconds now, so that gap's starting to close slightly. And they're not that far behind, but compared to everybody else in this field, and especially the gap between Salmon and Woods right now, Rart's a good bit up the field. Coming down the straightaway. Woods wants the spot, and he's gonna not take it around the outside. Salmon keeps it on the inside, but they're still side by side. Lap car ahead of him, that's the 365 trying to get out of the way. And they're gonna keep on battling through the middle sector of this course. Here comes Woods, he's right on the back bumper. He's not gonna make the move happen. Man, Woods wants this spot from Salmon, but he can't find any way around him.
threading the needle, Lewis Woods right there. Little bit wide from Alex Salmon going into the carousel right there. Woods sees it, but he can't get on the power easily enough. But great driving from Salmon and Woods right there. That was not easy. Lewis Woods trying to make an overtake, 3 abreast with an LMP2 around the outside of the bottom of the hill. Didn't quite pay off for him, but decent job. But the fight carries on, and the gap between Leonard Rad and Alex Salmon is continuing to come down as they catch up to traffic. So this is becoming a very intriguing final 20 minutes of this race, as Jakub Viderka is going to emerge out of the pit lane, and he's just going to come out behind Michele Costantini. As now we go back, we're going to keep an eye on this fight. This is brilliant. Lewis Woods back in the Superstream with a little bit of boost usage from Alex Salmon there up the hill to keep him in front. And Lewis Woods not going to go for a move into turn number 1 just yet. He's closing, but he's going to back off. He knows where he wants to make his move. Alex Salmon also knows where Lewis is going to try and make a move here. It's going to be at the bottom of the hill here as Salmon continues to hang on. It's not going to be for the win this week unless something happens to Leonard out in front. But this is a fantastic battle here. Here we go again. Here comes Lewis Woods. There's another LMP2. Does he do the same thing? Is he going to thread the needle? It's the outside line that Lewis Woods goes for this time. Alex Salmon knows what he needs to do. Chucks it up the inside of the LMP2. Woods follows. Can he get on the boost early enough? Alex Salmon covers it off up to the inside of the top of the hill. And again, Salmon is absolutely defending beautifully in that Audi at the moment. Woods cannot find a way through. Down towards the carousel. Outside line for Woods. Switches back to the inside again, but he cannot find a way past that car of Alex Salmon, who is defending for his life at the moment. We think Lewis has got more pace in the car, but Alex is making that Audi as wide as he possibly can, placing it lovely, and absolutely nothing to do about that. Matthias Droz has had to take a drive-through, I think, or something. He's back in the pit lane. We have a new leader in the P1AM category. It goes to Daniel Civizabo. Saw him passing in the pit lane. So Matthias Droz has had to pit again, and it's a shame for him. But Daniel Civizabo, who won in Silverstone, he's now your new leader in the P1AM category, and continues on, and he's got a massive gap back to Loki Brown, and out comes Drozda into that spot. As we now look at Michele Costantini, who is the leader in the P2 Pro category, into Canada corner. Does he just run wide? Yes, he does. I think he had his eyes on the car in front and understeered straight off and managed to survive at least. When he's in the lead, Michele, he doesn't make things half hard for himself sometimes, but there you can see Salmon had to go defensive that time. Lewis Woods now senses a bigger opportunity, but there's the boost usage from Salmon to try and get him to keep himself in front. But now Lewis Woods, what does he do? He has to try something different here. Outside again, but he's got a better run this time on the outside line. But Salmon, he's going to do that again, defend the inside. But this time, Woods goes around the outside, but again, he can't find the space. A little bit of boost usage up the hill. But Salmon again keeps it in front now. But now he's got some more traffic to deal with. This is brilliant driving from both of them.
And this battle has been raging on for, it seems like, 5 laps now as they work their way back through turn 8 into the carousel once again. Now this area of the racetrack, it really seems like Alex Salmon gets that jump on Woods. We don't really see Woods come alive until it's coming out of turn 1 or coming out of turn 3 down the moraine sweep. That's when we're really seeing Woods be so dominant and try and get past Alex Salmon. Just seems like in this back half of the course, he cannot get to his bumper once again. And you can see, even though with the LMP2 cars there, that gap is starting to grow even more. And now they're going to have one car in the middle of them. That's your current P2 Pro leader in Constantini. And around they go into the final corner. Will he use the boost this time? You're on board with Lewis Woods out of turn 14. Trying to use as much slipstream as he can as well into the top gear. Will he get around him using the slipstream? Is he going to go to the outside, inside, stay in line? He looks like he's going to stay in line. Hops up to the outside, not going to have enough of a run. Going to go for their crossover, making their way out of turn 1. They're going to make their way into turn number 3. Another good passing opportunity, and we've seen so many times in the last few laps. Lewis Woods try and go for a pass here. He's on the boost, trying to get to the back bumper of Alex Salmon. Does he go the same way? P2 car running out of room. He goes back to the outside. Is he going to make it work this time? Into turn 5. Can he keep it on the outside? He's got a tire there. One car in the grass. Not going to matter. They're still side by side as they work their way up the hill.
But still, Salmon in front on the inside. He knows where to place that car now. I think Lewis Woods, he has to find it somewhere different to try this now. He's caught now behind this one. He's frustrated. They're beginning to lap one of the P1 AM cars at the moment. I believe that is the P3 man, which is Loki Brown, who's just in front of them. So he's going to now hopefully stay out of their way as much as he can. But they're arriving at a very high rate of speed right now. Alex Salmon and Lewis Woods, the battle's been going on for the best part of 15 minutes before the pit stops, and they've been inseparable since then. But now, back into some traffic now for Alex Salmon, who is trying to get in front of some of the LMP2s here, and Woods needs to try and follow him as much as he can onto the grass, and he's going to lose the spot here, gets onto the grass, but he manages to keep it in a straight line. But that could be the nail in the coffin for Lewis Woods. Did well to hang on to it, but a slight error drops him about a second behind now. Now he's got to work to get back up to him again. Let's have a look at that. Got on the grass on the entry there, but a scary, scary moment for Lewis Woods.
That's all it takes is one mistake to take you out of a battle. That looked to be the one mistake. He was trying to use up those track limits and just got a little bit too far off into the grass. And it sucked him in and around he went. We take a look at another replay. This is Loki Brown, third currently in the P1 AM class. Did he make a mistake? No, the car in front of him did. That's the 324 who went around. That's Lee Ballmer into the tires.
Yeah, Lucky did very well to keep himself out of that. Here's Lee Ballmer as he comes down the hill, gets on the brakes, turns it in, down to first gear. It was rotating before he even came in, and very lazy spin into the tires. Actually, I don't even think he hit the tires, managed to stop it before the tires, but a bit of a lazy spin as he came through there. But that's a shame for him. We go back to Skorupski, who was involved with Loki Brown earlier on, and he's trying to get past Matteo Graziano here, who's in 5th place. Here he comes with the run on the car in front, moves to the outside line. Not an easy pass to make. We've seen it many, many times in LP1. If you have the inside line, it's just a case of, and up the hill he comes. I got a good run on the exit for Skorupski, but no way through for him this time. As now we could tick with 15 minutes left in this race. There is your P2 AM leader, Tim Perry. We're going to have an update on the classes right now. P2 AM, Tim Perry leads, Kevin Kittleman is second, Alex Moore is third, and Hughes Baumeister with Michael Seal, Jackson Bell, and Marcel Leclerc. So Markel, Eppringham, and Edwards with Collignon, Keane, Dunn, Nichols, Balmer, Lowe, and 2 DNFs at the moment is Jones and Nathan Healy. Is your P2 AM at the moment. Let's go to P2 Pro then. Michele Costantini at the head of the field for the best part of the 45 minutes we've been racing for. Jakob Viderka is second. Maciek Leinek with Neumann, Matteo Graziano, and Upski with Kalistani, Driedhoff, Cavido, James Holman, who started at the pit lane into the top 10. Then it's Ward, Aguirre, Bell, Van Den. Look at all those DNFs. Booker, Stark, McMahon, Littlemore, Daldadone, Pennington, Chambers, and Hutchinson, all out of this race. A quick note as well, I just saw Costantini getting on the grass on the straight, coming into turn 1, so he's taking an interesting line. Now here's your leader in P1 AM, Daniel Civizzabo, by 25 seconds over Matthias Drozda, Loki Brown in third, and then it's Matt James and Flavio Figuccio, of course, the DNF from this race. And P1 Pro, it's Leonard Rart at the head of the field. He's led every single lap of this race. Alex Salmon in second, Lewis Woods chasing him down though in third, and Hutchinson in fourth. Ishmael Yakubu out of the race, and Hugo Valentino also out of the race at the moment. So only 4 cars left in that category. But Leonard Rart seems as something is working for him this week. He's had terrible luck all season long. Had a disconnection in the first round, was involved in an incident in the second round, and is now on course to finally take a victory in this race. 7.3 seconds to Alex Salmon, and Lewis Woods working hard now to try and get back up to the back of it of Alex Salmon right now. You can see they're still close together on track. Here is Alex Salmon making his way past some LMP2 traffic. And there is Lewis Woods, so just trying to follow him there. He will have a distant toe off of him, but it'll be so you can see Lewis Woods 0.4 of a second faster on that lap. I was assuming because of traffic, but that battle's certainly not over.
And Woods, you gotta think, after that one mistake, that was honestly a mistake on his part. Nobody helped him make that mistake. You're willing to bet he is mad right now, and he is driving mad. And we have seen some great drives from drivers who are driving mad. And speaking of driving mad, we have a side-by-side battle going on between two different classes. This is P2 Am versus P2 Pro. Bruno Aguirre, you're currently taking a look at the 242, and he has the 376 up his inside. That's Jason Merchal, 12th overall, or sorry, 12th in the P2 Pro class versus 10th in the P2 Am class, currently 29th and 30th overall. As we hop into another battle further on back, as here comes Merchal, working his way around the outside, but that 242 keeping that overall spot, and into the grass goes Merchal.
Yeah, just got a little bit too much on the inside there, cut too much of that corner as Costantini is coming up to lap them. There he is at the head of the pro field, and doing an excellent job as he has done week in, week out, but not opening the gap too much over Janko Verdurka. It's kind of stable at 5.5 seconds after that mistake he made in the bottom corner, the right-hander, but is surviving right now. We go up into this great battle, but keeping an eye on it now. Michael Seal versus US Baumeister. This is a battle for 5th in class in P2am. Baumeister with a little bit of a cutback line, but Michael Seal makes his way through past him, with this battle raging on for a couple of corners now. Here's Michael Seal has sealed the deal and got himself past the US Baumeister there, but the slipstream for Baumeister this time as he comes up the hill, as we've only got a couple more laps left in this race. 48 minutes gone, and here comes Baumeister again with the slipstream. We're going to switch back past him again and straight through, and takes the position right back off him in this one, and right round the inside for him. So that battle is probably going to be swapping and changing for the rest of this race here between the two of these, unless either of them makes a mistake. With a big slide there for Baumeister on the exit. Slipstream now from Michael Seal, but it seems even with the slide, Baumeister managed to get a better exit and is kind of opening it out down the straight, and has got a decent gap now to the car behind. But that battle is not going to end. The Seal gets a little bit out of shape on the exit, but Baumeister has now got that top 5 slot at the moment. So just under, well, actually, we're just going to take over to 10 minutes to go in this race. This race has absolutely flown by. Action all the way through, as we always know with the Aerial Prototypes Championship. But we have now, this is a bit of a stack up right here. We got Skorupski in P5, Graziano in P6, and Calistani in P7. They're all together. Big understeer for Graziano through the right-hander. You can see there the car just went straight on in the right-hander. The tire scrubbing over the surface of the tire. Here comes Calistani then around the outside of the bottom of the hill, and he goes chasing after Skorupski now. Small mistake, but that's all it takes. Understeering down the hill, and that would be, of course, these tires have nearly done an hour of racing. They're not going to be at their best, and the tire just scrubbing over the surface of the track, and saying it's crying enough with the gap. There's your temperatures: 77 degrees in the air and 86 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. So quite a warm track today. And we have, of course, it's just 20 past 10 in the morning in-game time here. So it's still early enough in the morning for these guys on April 1st in-game time as well. It's April Fool's Day for these guys today. But 9 minutes left to go, and unless something drastic happens, it looks like we're pretty secure in our class leaders.
Yeah, and the class leaders in each of the classes right now have pulled away from whoever they're battling, who they were battling with for second or third, and that's just kind of showing who's the best. And we've really seen the cream rise to the top in this field. I mean, Rart, Civizabo, Costantini, and Perry, all 4 of them have been on their game since the start of this race, and they're the most deserving top 4 for the class leaders, in my opinion. And these guys have been racing for 50 minutes right now, as amazing as they can, and those 4 leaders are, I think, going to stay for these last 10 minutes, and we're going to see a good finish for some of these battles, because we still have that Salmon Woods battle going on. We could see some more midfield battles through the P2 Pro and Am class. I don't think these battles are necessarily done as we reach 8 minutes to go.
Absolutely, yeah. We're looking here at this will be Ryan Eppringham with Edwards battling for 8th in class. And if you would like to keep up with who is where on the track, you can of course use the the live timing, which is available in the YouTube chat. You click the link, you can open that in your browser, keep an eye on where everybody is on the track while you're watching the live stream at the same time. So if you want to do that, you click the link in the YouTube chat right now. Epperingham having to possibly open the door here to Edwards. Leaves the door open, but no move for Edwards yet. But he runs a bit wide. Edwards gets a little bit of a run in it, but Epperingham managing to hang on for now. At the same time, as well, the SDK Gaming live timing overlay being put through its paces as always aerial prototypes. It's got so much to do, trying to keep track of classes and the minimap running on the right-hand side and the relative box working hard as well. If you would like to obviously check that out, you can go to the website sdkgaming.co.uk and you can check out the overlay. As we can see here, Edwards moves to the inside of turn number 1, makes the move on Ryan Epperingham and moves himself into 8th in class in the P2 AM category. If you can look on the minimap, by the way, you can see at the top of the screen right there the number 2 red dot and the number 3 red dot slightly closer together now, and this battle looks like it's going to go to the flag, because look at Lewis Woods. He's managed to close up within that slipstream edge with 7 minutes left. This is going to go to the flag.
And there's Salmon trying to deal with that P2 traffic up ahead of him. Woods now, he's not that close, but I've been thinking coming down the front straightaway, because Woods is so good on the front straight. He's so good coming out of turn 3 into turn 5. It just seems like everywhere else, Salmon has his number, but Woods on these straightaways has been so fast. He's been using that boost as perfect as he can, staying in that slipstream, and more P2 traffic up ahead for Alex Salmon. This battle's going to just continue to heat up as here comes Woods to join the battle once again.
Yeah, he's got to negotiate some traffic now of one of the P2s as they head through. He's going to get caught on the apex a bit here. He's going to want to get past these as quickly as possible, and does do so, but the gap opens out to over a second in that small space of time. So he's still got some work to do, but they've got a big, huge chunk of traffic to get through now. You can see it stacked up at the bottom of the hill there with all those blue markers. Look at all these cars. They've got to try and get through here. So inside line for Salmon to get past that P2. Woods has got to try and follow him as best he can here, but this is going to be the story of the race here. Woods follows through immediately, and you can see the sector times very, very close between the both of them. 800s in favor of Woods, then 500s in favor of Salmon, 200s in favor of Salmon, so it's very, very evenly matched. As you can see there, Salmon driving it around the outside of the carousel. Still got to be brave to do that in the P1, even if they do have more downforce, but the traffic playing a massive part here. And you can see Alex Salmon has opened out the gap in that sector alone, catching the traffic in the right place. Gap opens out to 1.3 seconds. It was below the second marker as we came over the start-finish line. But all they need is a bit of clean air, and this battle will continue to rage on with 5 minutes left on the clock. Not long left to go now for these guys. And you can see there, look at that. You can see 4/10 in favor, but you can see half a second gained back by Lewis Woods in that last sector. So he's really good in that final sector and catching the traffic in the right places. But across the line now, it's all going to be to see. You can see 42.7, 42.6, so a 10th in favor of Woods overall that lap. Gap is 0.8 of a second. Oh, we got a car on the wall, and that is Matt James, and that's the corner at the top of the hill in sector number 1. They got a Maciek Mlinek who spins off from that I think he was second in class, and he drops behind Jakub Widerka. Mlinek now drops to 3rd, but he manages to hang on to at least the podium, but has to take, I wonder was there contact. I think this could be very similar to something that we saw earlier between Skorupski and Lucky Brown, and Matt James was in the wall as we had the other car off the road as well. I've got a feeling that we're going to see something very similar to what we saw earlier between those two, and Matt James ending up in the wall, but Widerka hanging on to Mlinek dropping to 3rd. But here's Leonard Raerts. He's not got long left to go now, and he's going to finally convert a pole to a win for the German, and we're going to have, I think, 3 different winners in this championship within these first 3 rounds. But this has been a hell of a display from the man from Germany, and he's done a really excellent job all race long to secure himself a win. It actually will be, it won't be 3 winners in a row. Alex Salmon has got 2, so we're going to have somebody else at the top of the standings, or at the top of the step of the podium at least, in the shape of Leonard Raerts. It comes across the line, just less than 3 minutes to go. it will be, I would imagine, 2 laps to go now, as he now tries to negotiate some traffic here. But he just needs to keep himself composed, and he should be nicely in shape for a win. There's Daniel Sivizabo, who's got no real pressure at the moment from anyone. He's actually getting caught up by Leonard Rart, believe it or not. So that's how far Leonard Rart is in front. He's about to lap the P1 AM leader in his class, as we see a battle for 7th shaping up in P2 AM between Marcel Leclerc and Edwards in class as well. But just 3 minutes, or just about 2 minutes left to go on this race. Now we're going to have 2 laps to go, and here comes Edwards on the back of Marcel Leclerc. Got a good run already on the inside line as he comes into Canada corner, and it makes it easy work of Marcel Leclerc. And careful not to run wide, but he loses the position immediately, running too wide, and loses the position back to Marcel Leclerc. So simple error from himself there, but manages to hang on to that 7th place for now. We don't know how long he's going to be able to do that for, but we are coming to the end of this race, and it's really something here, as we see Edwards moving back to the inside of turn number 1. Can he get stopped this time? Turns it in, and yes, he does get it done this time. No mistakes, and a nice clean move, making it through to P7 in class. And we also have white flag, and I believe I've just done the commentator's correct. Look who's now leading. Kevin Kittleman leads P2 AM with 2 minutes left on the clock. Tim Perry is behind him, and this is the battle for the lead. So Tim Perry was leading the class, and Kevin Kittleman is now your new leader in class with just a minute left on the clock.
And that gap hasn't stretched out that much too. There still is a possibility for Perry to try and get that spot back, but Kittleman now leads, and they're close together. You can see there's still not even a second separating these two, but Perry needs to get up on the wheel, and he needs to do it fast as they take the white flag now. About 25 seconds left on the clock. The clock will expire on this lap for our overall leader, so we will take the checkered flag next time Leonard Rart comes across the start-finish line. But here's the 311 of Kevin Kittleman, the 383 at Tim Perry. They're battling for the win in the P2 AM class. They have a P1 traffic behind him that's going to go right on by. That's going to affect Perry, but it might also affect Kittleman as they make their way into turn 5.
Well, this is a late twist in the tail, isn't it? P2 AM, Kevin Kittleman has not yet won a race. Tim Perry was the winner last week. This is for 3 different winners in class. In this one, we had Liam Ranson round 1. We had Tim Perry last week, and Kevin Kittleman now. He's only got half a lap left to hang on. But here we go, back to Leonard Rart, who's led from pole in this race. He's about to come round the last corner. Dominance displayed by the German round the last corner in the Porsche. Leonard Rart, he's already weaving back and forth as he comes across to take the checkered flag at Road America. He's finally done it. Leonard Rart wins, and Mateusz Drozda, he's going to be a run for the line between himself and Sivizabo. Drozda takes the win across line in P1 AM at the death, as Sivizabo, I think he's run out of fuel in that car. Sivizabo loses it on the run to the line. But here we go, back to the battle for P2 AM. We've had a late change, late drama in P1 AM. Can Kevin Kittleman keep himself in front? I think he can, as they run through the last few corners here. But here, what a finish in P1 AM. Drozda takes it back, but Kevin Kittleman in the last 2 laps, he's secured it. He's got it done. Running to the line, he's done it. Kevin Kittleman is going to win in P2 AM. Takes it over Tim Perry. Great drive from the man, and he comes across the line to take it. And we're going to have P2 Pro in the form of Michele Costantini, who's going to take it by a lights to flag victory, but Mateusz Drozda taking it at the death from Daniel Sivizabo, who slows on the last corner. That is drama at the very end.
An unbelievable battle in the P1 AM and the P2 AM class, as here comes P2 Pro. That's Costantini. No pressure behind for the Apex Racing team, number 266. About a 10-second gap in between him and Jacob Weiderka on the track in the P2 Pro class, the final class leader to come across the line. Onto the front straightaway, he gets loose, maybe a little bit of celebration as he's gonna take the win in P2 Pro. Costantini grabs in the 266.
3 in a row for Michele Costantini in the P2 Pro category. He's done the job, but how about that? Let's see if we could see that finish. I wonder, did Sivizabo back off to let his teammate take the win? Because I think they're both in the same team, if I'm not mistaken. It's Sivizabo backing off, and through went Drozda to take the win, and yeah, he lifted off right there, and that's actually, that sounds like a car that's out of fuel coming across the line. And no, they're not on the same team. I think it was just that he ran out of fuel out the last corner. I could hear that car was on the limiter, or just kind of bouncing around on the engine, and yeah, Sivizabo runs out of fuel on the run to the line, and Drozda says thank you very much.
And that was a good break for Drozda. Remember, he led early on, then lost the lead to Sivizabo. And with that, just a hard break for the 116. I mean, you gotta feel for him. He just didn't put maybe 100 feet of fuel in the car, and that gave the win to Drozda when they came across the line. Just so unfortunate for the 116, because that mistake was made halfway through the race, and you couldn't have predicted it until right there going up the hill.
Wow, what a finish. So here is your race result. Leonard Rart taking the win then in the P1 Pro category. Alex Salmon getting the better of Lewis Woods in the end by 0.6 of a second, but Alex Salmon did the job. Lewis Woods is third, Mark Hutchison in fourth, and then DNFs for Ishmael Ikubu and Hugo Valentin, who were early casualties in this race. But we all know what happened to P2 Let's have a look at the final standings. Mateusz Drozda in the final corner, winning against Daniel Sivizabo, who runs out of fuel on the way to the line. Loki Brown in third, Matt James and Flavio Figuccio, who was a DNF in this one as well. P2 Pro then, it's 3 in a row from Michele Costantini, Jakub Widerka. Look at all those RLR Bruzzi Esports cars all together, all the Polish drivers together in that second, third, fourth, and fifth. So Widerka, Mlinek, Neumann, and Skorupski. And then we have Matteo Calistani, Graziano Zuidhoff, Cavido, Holman, Ward, Aguirre, Bell, Van Den, Booker, Stark, Littlemore, and McMahon. You can see actually, I think, very, very awesome to see all the RLR Bruzzi Esports guys finishing together. Was obviously, I don't think that was planned, but there you go. Tom McMahon, DNF, Doladone DNF, Pennington DNF, Chambers DNF, and Hutchinson DNF. And then finally, the P2 AM, it decided in the last 2 laps. It goes to Kevin Kittelman, who wins it by 1.4 seconds over Tim Perry. Alex Moore, the pole sitter, he's on the podium in third. Jackson Bell, Joost Baumeister, and then Michael Seal. Ryan Eppringham, Jason Markel, Corey Edwards, and Marcel Leclerc. Charles Collignon, then Jonathan Keane, Shane Dunn, David Nichols, Lee Ballmer, and Sasha Lowe. Then it's Craig Jones and Nathan Healy, who are also DNFs for Craig Jones and Nathan Healy. But a mammoth race, all coming to an end after an hour of intense racing all the way through. But wow, I'm looking forward to hearing from the drivers after that one. This is going to be something worth hearing, I think, from these guys, as we are now standing by to hear from a few of our drivers here today. We have Leonard Rart standing by in the interview waiting area, and we're finally going to drag him in and have a word with our race winner. Leonard, it's finally happened. Welcome to the commentary box for Apex Racing TV. You've had some terrible luck up to this week, but it's finally come away from you. Pole to the win, and finally a bit of redemption.
Yeah, finally. Even though we still had a bit of bad luck with a few RLR cars not making it to the finish, which is always not what we want. But yeah, finally was able to convert that pole into something that actually counts on the points sheet in the end.
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster season so far. You've been the man to beat in qualifying, but it's never really gone your way in the races. But finally doing it this time. So, how tricky was it out there today? Obviously, there's been plenty of issues with traffic, a few instances with LMP1s and LMP2s running into each other. Oh, how tough was it making it through the traffic?
I think it was a bit easier for me compared to the Audis because we in the Porsche have to run high downforce here, so that offered us a bit more opportunities under braking, even though we have to be really careful with the Porsche because we need to really lengthen the braking zones to get to the boost that we actually have. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect to stay in front for the entirety of the race because in practice it showed that the Audi actually was the faster car. But I think the warm weather here helped me a bit to slow the Audis down, and they had to work their tires a bit more. I was a bit more gentle on the tires with the high downforce trim, and that made this possible because, as I said, the Porsche is not really the car, the stronger car currently. It's a stronger car in qualifying because we just have more boost, but in the race trim usually it's the Audi who takes the win.
So with that result, obviously with everything not going your way in the first couple of rounds, is with that result, is there now a possible chance of a late charge to try and take this championship? It's probably going to be a little bit of a tricky one, but do you still think there's a little bit of a chance there?
That honestly depends on how the pace of the Porsche is in Le Mans. We know in Spa the Audi is a lot faster. In Sebring, depending on the weather, I have a chance again. The car takes the bumps a bit better. But we haven't tested, like with the new tire model, we haven't tested the cars on Le Mans. And if the Porsche is somewhat competitive, then yeah, sure, I might have a chance at the championship. But it all depends on how quick the car is in Le Mans.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. Leonard, thanks for joining us. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to say a quick thank you to while we're on stream?
Yes, to Pascal and Jake for running this whole show, and to our sponsors, Abruzzi and Leverage Promotions. Big shout out to these guys. They make this possible.
Awesome. Well, Leonard, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the victory, and hopefully we'll be chatting to you again very soon.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice evening. Bye.
So Leonard Roth, the first time we've had him in the box, and sounds very happy. Josh, I believe we have two others standing by. I think Michele Costantini standing by for yourself. The LMP2 Pro winner, always a good guy to have a chat with.
And he's joining us now in the booth. Michele Costantini, welcome to the Apex Racing TV booth, and another P2 Pro win for you. Just talk about how it feels 3 in a row now for Apex Racing team in the P2 Pro class.
Yeah, obviously, hello everyone. Well, obviously it feels pretty good. 3 wins in a row, so good chunk of championship points, which is always good. But today wasn't. I feel like it wasn't my best drive compared to the first 2 races, especially from the pit stop. From the pit stop afterwards, I lost like 4 seconds on the pit stop and the 2 laps after that, and then the pace wasn't as good after the stop because of the track temperature, which got way higher than I anticipated. So yeah, I struggled a bit with the tires at the end, but other than that, still managed to bring the win home. And yeah, another good chunk of points, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that.
We saw a few drivers start dropping, losing fuel on the last lap. How close were you on that fuel? Because we saw you sort of pit at the front part of that pit cycle mid-race. Were you close on fuel, or was it not really something you were concerned about?
No, not even close. Even because I lost 4 seconds in my pit stop, primarily because I put way too much fuel in the car, which seemed to be the right strategy, I guess, at the end.
Well, that definitely helped you out because we saw a good chunk of P2 cars, a few drop off there. So next week we head to Le Mans, of course, a very famous track for these prototype cars. Are you confident at Le Mans, and what are you going to do to make sure that you can get 4 in a row here in the ARL Prototype Series?
Honestly, Le Mans, just like Monza, is not one of my best tracks, purely because it's mainly about fuel saving, and you can't really break the draft from someone, so you cannot really break away and build a gap unless you get very good start, which is very hard to do anyway because the draft is way back. So you need to break the draft by opening a pretty big gap, which is quite hard to do at Le Mans and at Monza, which is why I struggled a little bit more, I believe. there as well. So it's gonna be a tough week, but hopefully we can make it 4 in a row. That's the goal anyway.
Anyone else you'd like to thank here on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, I would like to thank you guys for the broadcast. Great as always. And then all the guys at Apex Racing Team and all of our sponsors. So thank you guys.
Thank you very much. That's Michele Costantini, your P2 Pro Class winner here from Road America. And I believe Jack is going to be standing by with your P2 AM Class winner, Kevin Kittleman.
That is it. Kevin Kittleman joins us right now. Kevin, I think that was a little bit unexpected. Tim running off the road, you picking up the pieces and securing the win, and our third different winner in the P2 AM category. Just talk to us about how that felt.
Oh, it feels amazing. Just like winning in the ALGT Championship. I already told it to the other guys in the chat. If Tim didn't make the mistake like 3 laps till the end, I think it was, there was no way I could have beat him because Tim was a damn rocket out there today. In the beginning, I was able to keep up with him, but once the tires started wearing out a little bit, Tim was gone. And yeah, so I'm happy that I got P1. So yeah.
Excellent. And obviously, we had that big crash in Monza last week with half the P2 AM field getting caught up on it. Do you think, was there a little bit more patience with guys today? Were guys taking it a little bit easier, or was it just as hard out there today?
Difficult question. I think people definitely took it a bit easier today. At the start, I still saw, I think, 1 or 2 people getting run off in T1. But overall, I noticed people left a little bit more space to the guys ahead of them and next to them. So overall, yeah, I would say people were a bit more cautious because nobody wants a Monza Part 2, obviously. Yeah, that would be my guess on the whole situation for today.
Excellent. Well, Kevin, thank you very much for hopping in with us. Hopefully we'll be chatting to you again. You are our third different winner in this championship. I think we had Liam Rance, then Tim last week, and yourself this week. Before you let go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thank you to while we're on stream?
Of course, to all my teammates from the Autosport team, our sponsors, SimRacer Coin and MaxFast. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Hopefully we'll be chatting to you again very soon. Congratulations on your win.
All right, see ya.
So you can tell it in his voice there, Kevin was not expecting that victory whatsoever. But that brings us, believe it or not, to the end of the stream today at the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship. We head to the home of endurance racing next week. It's Le Mans, and that is going to be a hell of a watch. We all love Le Mans, and we're looking forward to seeing how the championship battle is going to progress heading into that one. But as always, thanks to everyone for joining us in the stream today. We are going to be back next week at the exact same time. Many thanks to Marco for running the cameras as always, and to Joshua for hopping in place of Dane Baird this week. And we will join you back in Europe next week at the wonderful Circuit Le Mans, and we will join you very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week, and good night.